Alright guys, in this video we will create a multi-step form in React.js. This is the demo. So we have a step counter, we have a title here which is going to change in each step, and then the fields for to fill up the information. So I'm going to go ahead and fill up the information here. I'll say Jace Miller, and then if we click next, the step is changing, the title is changing, and we have different fields. Now let's say job title, say web developer, and the company Vycode Media, and the location, let's say USA. Now if we click next on the third step, we have all the information we entered for previous two steps. So now if I click back, I can change any of this information. Let's say senior web developer. If I click next, we see the job title is updated. All this information is being stored in a local state, and from this step you will be able to either send this information to an API or just do whatever you need to do with this information. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna stop my local machine for a little bit. I will create a new React app, so we'll type in create React app, React step form 2. This is gonna take a while, guys, so I'm just gonna pause the video. Alright, so it's done. Now I'm gonna navigate to this folder, React step form 2, and I'll type in npm start. This is gonna open up a new tab in my browser for the new app. There you go. Sorry for the delay, guys, it take a while here. Meanwhile, I'm gonna use VS Code. I already have it open in my project is here. This is the new app, and okay, so it's loaded. Now I'm gonna make some changes in my app right now. So everything I have in my app CSS, I'm gonna delete. Oops. Like this. I'll save it now in app.js. I'm gonna remove the logo from here and everything else I have in my div class app. Alright, and just for the sake of time, I am gonna paste a CSS code in my app CSS file, and the link to the source code is gonna be in the description, so you can go ahead and copy it from there too. And this is the CSS code. You can put any kind of styling you want, but if you want to follow along with me, just copy it from the source code. Right, so I'm gonna close it. Now in my app.js file, I'm gonna add another div class name, and this is gonna be content with a capital C, and here I will say hi. I'm gonna save it, and now let's see. Okay, so everything works fine. Now we want to create another folder in our source folder, and this folder is gonna be components. In the components folder, we will create a new file which is gonna be main.js, and this file is gonna contain the main functionality for our form. In our main file, we want to import React and also component from React. Okay, and then below, this is gonna be a class, so I have class main extends component, and here we will have a state. As I said, we'll have a local state where we will store all that information from fields, and we will have also the step, which is by default 1, and then for the step 1 we will want to store information for the first name, and this is empty, and then we have last name, which is also empty. Now for the step 2, here we have job title, which is empty. We have job company, and then we have job location. Alright, now we have render function and return. Render and return, and here, okay, let's save it like this for now. Now let's put an empty wrapper here, and I will say main. We save it like that. Now in our app.js we want to import that file, so import main from component/main, and we want to output it here in our content, so we'll have main component. Now let's save it, and if we see here, we have main doesn't contain a default export. It's just because in our main.js we didn't export it, so we'll do export default main. Alright, so see, it works because main comes from the main component from here. Now we should create another JS file for the first step. So in our components we will create a new file, and we will name it personal information.js. We can actually make it smaller. Let's do personal info, and here we will import React and component 2 from React. And this is gonna be a class, so we have class personal info extends component, and here we have render, and then return. We have an empty wrapper here, and we will say personal info. Alright, let's import this personal info in our main.js file. So we have import personal info from personal info. Actually, let's make sure we export it here. So we have export default personal info. Save it. Okay, we import it here. Now in our main class we will have another method which is gonna check the step on which we are right now, and according to the step we will output this component. So for the step 1 we want to output personal info, and then for the second step we would like to output the job details, to collect the job details. So here we will have another method. Let's say show step, just show step, and I'm using the ES6 syntax. And then here we will have const, alright, step, and it's gonna be this state, so I don't have to write all the time this state whenever I'm using step. Now we will have here an if statement, and this is gonna say step if step equal to 1. Then we want to output the personal info component, so we have personal info like this. And then in our return, now let's do the same thing we did for the step in our render function, and then here in the return function we will have an h2 This h2 is gonna stay step. We have step of 3. So this is the step counter, and then here we want to output the component according to our step. So we'll have show step we will call the show step method from this class, and let's make sure we put here this show step function like that. Right, let's save it and let's see what happens. Expects an assigned function call and instead 7 expression Untitled 2113. There's an error, guys. Line 21. Okay, so this here we should have return. Forgot about return, and let's go like this. Alright, and it works fine. We have personal info coming from the personal info .js file. Now we will have, let's say we will have 2 other methods for the next step and then from the previous step, because here we need a button to go to the next step too. So just in our main.js, let's create another, say, next step method, and we'll say const. Here we'll do the same thing as we did for the step on this one. So have const step this state, and then here we will have this set state, and here we will update the state. So whenever we will call this next step method, this is gonna increase the step with +1, which means we will go to the next step. So we will have here step to step +1 like this. And then we will have another method which is gonna be previous step. So we have prev step like this. We have const step this state. Okay, and then we have this set state, and we update the step with step -1. Alright, step -1, everything looks fine here. I'm just gonna save it. We don't have any errors because we don't use them yet. But now in our personal info here, we want to add new fields. So we have a field for the first name and then another field for the last name. So in our wrapper here, we will have an h2, and this is going to be the title for this field. So we'll have enter your personal information, and then below we will have a label, and we will have an input type text, let's say name, first name, and then we will have and there's gonna be a placeholder, first name, and then we will need another method for onChange, and this method is gonna be handle change, and we will send as a parameter the first name. Now we should create this handle method in our main file, So we will have it like this. Right, let's save it like this for now. Let's go back to the main file, and in our main file we'll have a new method right below our previous step method. So let's say here handle change. It's an ES6. I'm using ES6 syntax, so we'll have the input, and then we will have the event. Alright, and then here we'll have this set state. We will update the state. So whenever we will type in something in our field, this method is going to be called with this parameter. And then in this method we will have the input and then the event. So having this input, we can update the state, because the input needs to match with the state we have right now here. This is first name and last name. We have now the field for the first name, so we have this set state input. This contains the state name, and then we have target value. This is the value from the field. So we update the, for example, in our case right now, the first name. We update the first name with a value from the field. Alright, just make sure that they match. Okay, I'm gonna save it. Now let's go back and let's check if it works. So handle is not defined. No. In our personal info, that's because we didn't assign it to the here where whenever we call the personal info component. So what we should do here is we should have another prop, because here this is a prop. It's taking as a prop, so we need to send it as a prop. So we'll have here handle change equal to this handle change. Okay, we save it, and handle change is not defined. Still didn't. Is not defined personal info. Okay, we have handle change here. Now in our personal info.js file, we will have we should have a const with the props, because I didn't use here this prop. So we have const, and then here we'll have handle change, and then we'll assign this dot props. Alright, let's save it. Now we go back, see it works. I'm gonna inspect it. I have here a React extension installed, so whenever I'm going to the components tab in my inspection, and I click on personal info, on main, I have the states here. So if I type in here something like, let's say JS, I see that the state is updating, which means everything works fine. And now I should add another field for the last name. So I'll copy it, I'll duplicate, and then we'll have here last name, and here last name. Now this should update the last name state as well. So I'll click on save, and if I go back, I have the second field too. If I'm going to components, I want to make sure that the second one works. The last name works perfectly fine. Okay. Alright, now here we want to add the next button. So we have another button tag, and we'll have a class name. It's gonna be next. All these classes are coming from the CSS I pasted on the app CSS file. Where's that? Here, app CSS file. So, and then on click, whenever we click on this button, we want to call this continue method, and we should create this method right now in this class. And then here's going to say next. and I'm just gonna paste this arrow right here. So it's gonna be next. Now we should create this continue method, and it's gonna be right above the render. So we will have continue event, because it's an ES6 syntax here, and then we have this props dot next step. Now we don't have. Okay, let's prevent the default event. So we have e prevent default. All right. Let's save it. We may get an error right now because we didn't send this next step as a prop to this file. So in our main.js file, where we call our component right here, we want to add a new prop, which is going to be next step, and we will have here this next step like this. Okay, we'll save it. Let's go back and let's check it. Now if I click next, we see the step 2 of 3. So I don't know if you understood what happened here, but we created a new button, and then whenever we click on this button, we call the continue method from this class. Now this class is calling the next step prop from our props, the next step. But the next step prop in our main.js file is calling the next step method from here, which updates the step. Okay, so it looks like we're done with the first step. Now let's go ahead and create the next step, and the next step we'll create a new file, which is gonna be job details.js, and here we want to import React and component from React, and we will have a class. It's gonna be almost the same thing as we have here, so I'm gonna copy the continue method because we will have a button there. But first of all, we'll have class job details extends component. Alright, and here's the continue method, and then we will have render and return. So I'm gonna copy everything we have here like this. I will paste it here. The only thing I'm gonna change is the fields and the title. So here we should have enter your job information. Alright, now here we have, let's say we'll have job title. Well, this name for this field doesn't really matter in this example, but I'm just updating them because it's like a standard, just having a name field. And then the placeholder is gonna be just job title, and then on change is gonna be job title. Just let's make sure what we have here is the same thing we have in our state: job title, job company, and job location. Alright, job title. Here is gonna be the job company. Job company is in the handle change. We want to update the state, and then here we have just the company. Alright, and then we should have another field for location. So we have job location. Alright, here let's make sure we export it. So we have export default job details, and what else? We have the next button. Okay, let's save it like this and let's import it in our main.js file. So here we will have, what's that, job details. So we import job details from job details. Now in our show step we will have another if statement, which is going to say if stat equal to 2. We have return, and we want to return the job details like this. And of course we will have the handle changes we had for the previous step and the next step. Alright, I'm gonna save it like this, and let's see, person expected token next step, main.js. So there's something wrong here. Well, just because I should copy that parenthesis. Okay, it works now fine. Let's insert and inspect everything. So alright, I have first name, job, everything here. Now let's say Jace Miller, and with his first name is updating, the last name is updating as well. Click next, and the job information, let's say web developer, and the company is Vicode Media, and the location USA. So we see that our state is updating, the step is updating too. Now if I click next on the third step, we don't have anything else. Well, one thing here is we should, in our job details, we should add another button for the just to go to the previous step. So I'm gonna copy and paste this next button here, and let me see. This is gonna be for the back, so we'll have go back like this. Now the class name is gonna be back, and it's gonna, whenever we click on this button, we will call the back method, and we should create this method right now in this class. So let's go right above, below our continue method, and we will have here, let's say back. We get the event, and here we have prevent default, and then we have this props dot prev previous step method. Okay, we save it, and we actually didn't assign this to here wherever we send the data, so we want to add a new prop here. How would you call that? How did we call that? Let's see. Say prev step. Alright, and we want this prop to call the prev step method from here, which is gonna decrease it. So let's save it, and let's see now. Here we have Chase Miller, go next, job title next. Oh, I shouldn't do that. Sorry about that. Miller, go here, and then if I click go back, we go to the step 1. But you see, the information is not saving in the fields. It is in the state, but not in the fields. So let's fix that. Now we want here, wherever we call the personal info, we want to have 2 more props. One is going to be for the first name. For the first name, now in our step, we want to add the first name and the last name too. So we have first name and last name, because we want to get information from the state and send it in, assign it as props to our personal info component. So we have first name here, prop, and this is the state, like this. And then we do the same thing for the last name. Okay, we save it. Now here, wherever we have our handle change const, we want to add the last name and then the first name as well. Alright, now where we have our first name field, let's say we want to add the value equal to first name, and we should add the same thing to the last name field, but it's gonna be a last name like this. Alright, and then here Jace Miller, click next. Now if I go back, I see the information stays here. Oops, there's something wrong for the last name, probably misspelled something there. Last name. Oh, this I shouldn't have these here. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so we have Jace Miller, click next, go back, and we have all this information from the state. And we can update it. Let's say here Bob, click next and go back, and it stays here because it's updating the state as well. So alright, now we should do the same thing for the second step. So let's grab the first name and last name and let's paste it here under job details, and we will update. Actually, we need another one here, and we will update the first name, last name with the job title, job company, and job location. So we have here job title, and then we have job company, and then we have job location. Oops. Now we should add them here, so we don't have to type in this state all the time. Job title, job company, and job location. Alright, well, let's save this file. Now in our job details, let's add them here. So we have job title, we have job location, and we have job company. And here, wherever we have our fields, we want to add the value, and we have job title. Here we have the job company, and then we have job location. Like this. Alright, let's save it, let's see if it works. Okay. Well, we can see it really right now just because we should create a third step. So to do that, we should create another file, which is gonna be, let's call it all info. New file, let's create a new file in the components folder. So I'm gonna name it all info.js, and here we import React and component from React, and this is a class. All info extends the component, and we actually have the back method. Paste it here, and then here we have the render, and then we have return. Oops, like this. Alright, in our render function here, though, we should have those consts. So we have const first name, because we want to output all the data here on this step. So we have first name, last name, we have job title, job company, and job location. And these are gonna be props. Okay, Now in our return we'll have an empty wrapper, and here we'll have an h2, and it's gonna say here is the information you entered. Alright, and it's gonna have first name, and this is gonna be here like a bold text, and we'll have first name, last name is gonna be the same, the last name, and then we will have job, company, and location. So we have job title, and then we have company, so we have job company, and here is gonna be the job location, like this. And then we will have another button, which is gonna be the go back button. So we have button, class name is gonna be back, on click this back. Alright, and here it's gonna say go back, like this. I'm gonna save it and I'll import it in our main file. So we will have here import all info from what's that, all info. We actually didn't export it here, so let's make sure we export by default like all info. Alright, and here we will have an if statement in our show step. Okay, so we will have if step equal to 3, then we have return, and here we return all info, like this. And here we should send the previews, so we have first name, last name, oops, like this, and then we have job title, job company, job location, and then we have the previous step method here. Alright, we'll send it, and now let's see what happens there. Well, React must be installed when using JSX, all info.js 12.13. Okay, it needs to be capital R, that's why it showed an error. Alright, so let's go ahead and fill information. So we have Jace. Okay, so we have Jace Miller, click next, job title, web developer, company, Vycod Media, location USA, and then click next. And here we have all this. Oh, I forgot to add to break lines here, so we need BR here, 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 and here. One more time, Jace Miller, web developer, Vycod Media, USA, click next. So here we have all the information. Now if I click back, we can update any information from here. And let's say senior web developer, the state is updating. So if I click next, you see the job is updating. Let's go back and put here Facebook. Oops. Facebook state is updating. Click next, and the company has been updated too. So that's it, guys, for this tutorial. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Please subscribe to my channel. and I will see you in the next tutorial.